I watched, chunks of that game, the Seattle game at Washington. And the one thing I kept thinking of, Paul, is the Seahawks are over. They're done. They're basically finished. And the Seahawks need to look at themselves. And the owner, who's, Jody Allen, who took over the team after the death of her brother, the Microsoft co-founder, Paul Allen, after his death, she's as reclusive as he is, or as he was. And so nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. She doesn't have anything to do with the football team. So the Seahawks are 3-8. Russell Wilson looks like he's 92 years old, and is just not playing like Russell Wilson. The Seahawks have some very serious questions to answer. Number one, do you bring back your 70-year-old coach, Pete Carroll? Do you bring back your general manager, John Schneider? And if they are allowed to stay, or Schneider or Carroll is allowed to stay, what do you do with Russell Wilson? Do you put him on the market after the season and get 3 first-round picks for him and start the rebuild of this once proud franchise? I would probably do that. I'd probably want to start the rebuild. And I'm not saying that they'll get value for Russell Wilson if they do that. But this is a team that really needs to build the thing from the studs up again, I think, Paul.
You look at any team right now at this point of the season, as we kind of turn the final corner into December, we're almost there, that is 3-8, a team that is that far out of it right now. They have a lot of problems. And I think if you look at the specific problems, the brand of problems that Seattle has, 2 of the really big ones. Number one, they have a star quarterback who probably doesn't want to be there. I mean, he would like to be somewhere else. That's number one. And somewhere else on the list near the top, when you look at the entire franchise and what's coming, they don't have draft capital. They've traded away a lot of draft picks. So you have a quarterback who would probably rather be somewhere else, and you don't have a first-round pick coming up in April. If you do decide to let Russell Wilson go, to trade him away, you don't have that quarterback who is a superstar still. I know he's struggling right now compared to his normal standards, but I think there's a lot of good years left right there in Russell Wilson. And you could solve that problem of your lack of draft capital. So it's not just those 2 things, but Seattle has a lot of problems. And I think if they do make the decision to trade Russell Wilson away, they could solve a couple of their big ones and at least start down the road of getting back to where they used to be in come January.
Paul, I was thinking about this too last night. One of the things I would, if I were looking at this from 10,000 feet, I would make a coaching change. And I would get a young, offensive-minded coach, and I'd go to Russell Wilson and say, we really want you to be the centerpiece of our rebuild. But if you're going to be miserable, if you're going to be unhappy, we'll trade you if we can get a good offer. And that good offer has to start with 3 1s. I would not trade him for 2 1s and a 2 or anything like that. I'd just basically tell anybody who's interested, don't even call us unless it's 3 1s plus, whatever it is after that. But I do think that it's possible that Russell Wilson could be enticed, because I don't think you want to force anybody to stay. But what if, for instance, he had great respect for the coach, who the next coach of the team? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they were to look at Josh McDaniels. And I have no idea who they would look at if John Schneider was controlling this and they were to make a coaching change. So I don't know. But I just use McDaniels as an example that maybe Russell Wilson would say, hey, this is the guy who coached Tom Brady for a long time. This is a guy who really has made great strides in year 1 with Mac Jones. I'd love to work with him. So, or whoever it would be, Eric Bieniemy or anybody. If before I trade Russell Wilson, I want to find out from him, listen, is it possible? Can we do some stuff that would have you as the centerpiece of the rebuild? Because, Paul, honestly, even if their draft capital is bad, I'd still rather have Russell Wilson than all the draft picks, because it's been proven time and again that there is no price for a top quarterback in the league.
I think that's an awesome point, Peter. As I sit here and listen, it's one that I wish I would have come up with. And I could say that was my idea. But if it truly is a choice in this game of, the what if scenario, looking at the Seahawks future, if they could pick Russell Wilson, a happy Russell Wilson who was invested in being there the next 6 to 8 years, over Pete Carroll and John Schneider, if that truly is a pick or a division that's there, I'd take Russell Wilson 10 times out of 10. So it's a hell of a good point. If they can put a picture in his mind where, like, you would be happy in this scenario, we're going to get this coach, we're going to go out and get these free agents, we're going to build it this way, and he wants to be there. I mean, that would be priority number one. That would be position A for the Seahawks moving forward.
Let's transition now to New England. I did something in my column the other day. I picked the top 10 teams in the league, and I had New England number 3 right after Green Bay and Arizona. And I thought long and hard about it. And, Paul, I could have put Buffalo there. I could have even put Kansas City there. I thought about Baltimore. I just think Baltimore, man, they're winning, but wow, they sure don't inspire a lot of confidence with the way they're playing lately. Now, they are winning, and that's all that matters. I get it. But as I say, they don't inspire confidence right now. I think when I look at Mac Jones right now, I look at a guy who, on the first series of the game the other day against Tennessee, he made 2 throws that I thought were absolutely fantastic under great pressure. And I thought it was so interesting that after the game, Pro Football Focus, I saw a stat. Most efficient quarterback in the NFL this year through 12 weeks under pressure is Mac Jones. Not the best rookie, but the best quarterback under pressure so far this year, Mac Jones. And he made a throw a moment before getting sandwiched that resulted in a completion and a first down. And then on his touchdown pass to Kendrick Bourne in the corner of the end zone, he was staring right down the barrel of a rusher. I think it was Harold Landry, a millisecond away from hitting him. And that really proves to me that, first of all, to be able to execute under that kind of pressure, that takes years for NFL quarterbacks to learn. And Mac Jones is doing it in his 12th game in the NFL. And, Paul, you're a former quarterback. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you've seen in Mac Jones.
I really started watching Mac Jones these last 3 or 4 weeks with this idea, Peter, of, okay, this guy is performing better than even those of us who believed him at draft time. He's outperforming those expectations. And a lot of it is tied into this narrative. Well, he's in the perfect spot. The Patriots are helping him. And I've been watching thinking, okay, how much of this is his real talent and how much of this is the Patriots helping him? And I took notes watching this game a couple of times Sunday against Tennessee. Under the category of help, number 1, the Patriots' run commitment is really, really impressive, Peter. And I was trying to think of ways to really express this with you. And they're in the bottom half of the league in yards per attempt, yet they're in the top 7 for rush attempts. So think about that they're running the ball a lot compared to other teams without really having huge success. They are just committed to what rush attempts bring to Mac Jones and Josh McDaniels. That's number 1 on the help. Number 2, he's throwing beneath the sticks on 3rd down and long quite a bit. And we've all thought all this time, how many times have people yelled at the TV on 3rd and 8 when they get 7 because the quarterback threw it only 6 yards and the guy fell forward? They throw beneath the sticks quite a bit on 3rd down, not to make it easy on Mac Jones, but to make it easier. So they are handling him and managing him, I think, in a really smart way. And I love what Josh McDaniels is doing with the number of formations that they have. I mean, it's not uncommon, Peter, to have Mac Jones on 1st and 10, shotgun, empty backfield, which makes the defense think, oh, we can come after you because you got nobody back there to help. And then on 2nd down, they're in a tight formation. He's under center with the fullback, and they just do some kind of play action. So the way they're helping him casts a really wide net with where he throws it on 3rd and long, the kind of formations he gets to use. But I really love how they are using his raw talent. You pointed out a really good example of that first touchdown pass. The 3rd down they converted before that, moments before, they had 3rd and 10, Peter, and he threw a screen pass. That's just good coaching. That's good on Josh McDaniels. Right. So the first 3rd down is way to go, Josh. That's smart. The next one for the touchdown is like, that's why Mac Jones should have been drafted even higher. It's just a really nice mix of the Patriots helping him and him also showing off his talent. That's a lot better than many people believe.
Paul, 2 last topics that I wanted to get to today. One is, I think I look back at 1 year ago in the NFL and I see this, sort of meteor come out of the sky in Tampa Bay starting in early December. And so I just started to think to myself, with everything being so weird in football this year, and with not being able to rely on anything, I wonder, let's each pick a team. I'll start. Let's each pick a team that we could see going on that kind of run this year. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to say San Francisco. And I think the recent efficiency of Jimmy Garoppolo, 1 turnover in the last 3 games, and the emergence of Elijah Mitchell in that running game, their last draft choice this year, another great job by their ancient running backs coach, Bobby Turner, who's 72 years old, and who goes back to the Mike Shanahan days in Denver. You just simply don't understand how great an assistant coach. He's got to be on the Mount Rushmore of current assistant coaches in the NFL. He's fantastic. But they've gotten that running back ready to go and up to speed. And look, they're going to have a couple of injuries that they've got to manage, huge injuries. Now, Fred Warner on defense, gone a week or 2. And the same with Deebo Samuel, who is right now the best, he and Cordero Patterson, the best multi-purpose weapons in football today. And they're going to be without each of those guys for the next either week or 2. And that is trouble. They've got to handle that. But I really think the 49ers can get on a run. Give me your team.
So under this criteria of a team that's going to be a 6th or 7th seed that could make some noise in January, I go to the AFC, Peter, and I'm going with the Colts. I know they had a disappointing finish against the Buccaneers this past weekend, but they've got a formula. They lead the league in turnover margin. I really like what they're doing defensively. Jonathan Taylor was kind of quiet this past weekend. It was strange how they didn't use him, but they have that I think is going to come out even more in December. And my main reason, I go back to about a month ago, Peter. Sims and I went in deep on Carson Wentz when they had that overtime loss to Tennessee, and he had those 2 really bad interceptions late in the game. We went back and looked at those, and I looked at Carson's numbers leading up to that. I'm like, that's really uncharacteristic based off of what he's done this entire season. He's hardly thrown any interceptions. Let's see if those moments there at the end of that Tennessee game really start to come out more, or if they truly were just kind of aberrations. 9 of the 12 games, Peter, he has not thrown a single interception in their games. He's taking care of the ball really well. They've got Taylor. They've got a defense. So I think they have the components of a team. I don't think they're going to win it all, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's a team that's playing, in mid-January, maybe late January.
The other one that either of us could have said is Cincinnati. The last 2 weeks, man, they've been shot out of a cannon 2 weeks in a row. They obliterated the Steelers on Sunday. And Joe Burrow, wow. How about this? Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert play for the first time this Sunday. And important game for both teams, obviously. But those 2 guys have already combined for 80 touchdown passes in the NFL. It's just they've really blown up early on in their NFL careers. Okay.
Yeah.
The last very quick thing I want to get to is, to me, I think there's one thing that really has surprised me early on, as through 12 weeks. Green Bay's defense, I absolutely love, and it's amazing they're playing so well without Zadarius Smith and without Jair Alexander. Those are their best two defensive players. And I asked Matt LaFleur after their game on Sunday, when they had that impressive win over the Rams, I asked him, and he goes, hey, the biggest thing for us has been Devondre Campbell. And everybody says, who? Devondre Campbell is the guy who's got the green dot on his helmet, calling the defensive signals, the nerve center of this defense that has been really so much better than anybody thought. And look, we know an Aaron Rodgers team is going to score points, but Aaron Rodgers can't play defense. And this team with the new defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, I think is going to go far in this playoff season this year because of what they can do on defense. I don't know what you thought when you watched them, but that has been a revelation to me.
I watched the Packers, Peter, and two things stand out to me. Number one, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, but he doesn't have to be Superman for them to look good and to win. He doesn't have to have giant numbers for them to give you confidence that they could still be standing in February. And he's certainly capable of it, but the best point guard on the best college or NFL or NBA team shouldn't be scoring 35 points every game. He should be around 20.
Right.
And I think Aaron Rodgers with the team around him can now play that kind of role. The second thing I love about Green Bay, Peter, just kind of looking at the entire team, not just the defense or just the offense, they don't have this wide range of, hey, they were awesome this week. God, what happened the last 2 weeks? They were terrible. A lot of the other teams that are in the top 10 have had those kind of stretches. And Green Bay, minus week one and minus offensively when they had to play with Jordan Love, they've been kind of living in this place between good and really good. And there's not a lot of swings. And I put a lot of stock into that. In addition to the defense, it's just a team that's living in this good place without dipping down too often. And I think that's going to serve them really well in these next couple months.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.